Well, I guess I am live and nobody's watching right now, but that's okay. I'm going to talk to a zero audience. Maybe some of my fans will be randomly scrolling through YouTube and see me. Let's see. I hope my mic is working. I'm using a spare computer. My real computer died the other day, and I'm using a backup that I happen to have. Oh, somebody's here. Hello, little sprout. Hopefully, people are bored right now at almost 10:30 on a Wednesday night on the East Coast anyway, and they're just scrolling through YouTube and they'll find me because I don't want to do a task that I have to do. So I'll just be live on YouTube instead. Awesome. Thank you so much, people, for saying hello. I see the comments. I have nothing planned to say. This is totally 100% spur of the moment. So, if anyone has any questions, yeah, Susan is asking about Thursday. I I will be live in a private Facebook group that I'm part of tomorrow night. This is totally separate from that. This is my YouTube channel that is totally unrelated to the Adapt Your Life stuff. So if anyone has any questions about keto, low carb, health and nutrition in general, fire away because I have nothing planned to talk about. I did record 4 videos earlier. I know it's been a while since I posted a new video on my channel. So I just recorded 4 of them today. I think I scheduled one of them to go out tomorrow morning. So tomorrow morning, you will see a new video from me. And I'll spoil the surprise. It is about maintenance on keto. It's a follow up to the previous video I did about weight loss maintenance. Because, as always, I forgot to say some things that I think are important. So, all right, there's 15 people watching right now. I don't know if anyone. I don't even have any topics off the top of my head that I could talk about. I'm running out of ideas for videos, frankly. So if anyone has suggestions, either right now or leave them in the comments at any time or send me an email through my website or something. Look, we have people watching from San Diego and Kansas City and Georgia. So I am going to be in San Diego in August. I think the end of August. Low Carb San Diego. Let me see if I can find the website and I'll put a link. They are actually having the event in person at the end of the summer. Here we are. Low Carb San Diego 2021. I'm going to put a link there in the chat. And I've never been to San Diego, but I've only ever heard good things. And I was supposed to go, I guess it would have been 2020. Yeah, it must have been last year. Of course, that did not happen. They did it virtually. Oh, Francine is asking about fat adaptation. I did a video not long ago on that exact topic, on the whole what is fat adaptation? Is it different than actually being in ketosis? How do I know if I'm fat adapted? So I will just put a link to that video because I already did it. And I would think that just about everything you would want to know about fat adaptation is in there. So let me see if I can find it. I should be able to find it eventually on my own. Oh, there it is. I don't want it to play though. Okay, so I'm putting a link in the chat now. That's the video I did on fat adaptation. Oh, somebody's still in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh, you all know I love Pittsburgh. Beth is saying she's doing intermittent fasting and keto, getting hungry at night. You probably need to eat more. Everybody is so obsessed with fasting, but it's okay to eat. It is even okay to eat at night. And I know that has probably just shocked some of you. It's the biggest nutritional sin you could ever commit is eating late at night. No. What you eat and how much matters a lot more than when you eat. So if you are hungry, either eat a larger meal. Like, I don't know what time your last meal is before you consider yourself done eating for the day, but maybe that meal needs to be larger to tide you over. Or you could just have a little snack. It's not going to be the end of the world if you have a little bite of something. Because here's the thing with fasting, and I've done videos on this a long time ago. Most of the benefits, maybe not all, but most of the big benefits, most of the major benefits that you are trying to achieve by intermittent fasting, you are already accomplishing by keeping your carbohydrate intake very low, namely lower blood sugar, lower insulin, spending time in a fat burning, lower insulin, higher glucagon state. You are accomplishing that through a ketogenic diet alone, whether or not you incorporate any particular kind of fasting. So, that I always give very long answers to very short questions. I made a joke about that in one of the videos I recorded today. I was saying how when the world is normal and I'm at these conferences in person, I'll be like leaving the big conference room on my way back to my hotel room or onto the bathroom. And someone's like, "Oh, Amy, can I just ask you a quick question?" And I'm like, because the question is always quick and my answer is going to take 20 minutes. But maybe that's my own fault and that's something to work on. New Mexico nurse says hair loss and breaking fingernails. Too little calories, or what else could be the cause? So, with nails and hair, my mind automatically goes to protein. Many women skimp like crazy on protein. I did 2 videos not long ago on higher protein, and one of them was specifically geared toward women. So look for those. I would definitely eat more protein. Some people will push you toward collagen powder because of specifically for the hair and nails. You could do that if you want to, but any protein, any good complete protein is going to give you the amino acids you need for the hair and nails. Now, increased protein, I think, generally does help with nails. Hair loss is very common on keto, especially if you are in the active weight loss process. Like if you happen to be losing weight right now, you will lose hair. I shouldn't, not everybody does. Many people do. It will grow back. You're a nurse, so I'll tell you the medical term for it is telogen effluvium. It's a really big fancy science word that just means stress-induced hair loss. And you might not feel stressed out, but you've had this big dietary change internally to your body. It's a stressful thing. So the hair will eventually grow back. It'll just take some time. Patricia has I'll answer the easier question first, and then I'll get to Patricia's question about gaining weight. Peter is saying, do they ever have keto conferences in Kansas City, Missouri? No, but if you would like to organize one, I'd be more than happy to come to Kansas City and eat me some barbecue. So where they have events is just where they have events. This organization called Low Carb USA tends to have in a non-COVID world, in a normal year, Low Carb USA always has one in San Diego. There's usually one in Florida somewhere. I want to say it's not West Palm Beach, somewhere in Florida. They have one on the 2 coasts. There's often the Metabolic Health Summit is a very big one that's usually in LA, LA area. Where else? I almost forgot. There was supposed to be a conference in Salt Lake City that they kept postponing and postponing and postponing, and they've decided to do it virtually for free. And it's happening this Saturday, May 22nd. If you are familiar with the company Keto Chow, they are sponsoring it. I'm speaking. Dr. Westman is speaking. I think Dave Feldman, and I know there's a bunch of other speakers, and I don't remember who else at the moment. Maybe Maria Emmerich. I'm not sure. I know I recorded. Dr. Westman recorded because we had to pre-record our talks, and then they're just going to broadcast them on their YouTube channel, on the Keto Chow YouTube channel. So let me see if I can find any info on that. Actually, Keto Salt Lake 2021. Yeah, virtual conference. I don't know if this website has been updated, but I'll drop it in the chat. Saturday the 22nd, they will be broadcasting all the talks. But if you can't watch live, no big deal. All of those talks will be available on the Keto Chow YouTube channel just as a normal video afterwards. So if you can't, if you're busy, no big deal. I would love to go to a conference in Kansas City because, like I said, barbecue. Okay, now to Patricia's question that I was delaying. She says, I'm following the plan like it's on, I don't know what SE is. That steroids like you're on crack? So Dr. Westman's plan, I've gained 2 pounds. What could I be doing wrong? Well, this is a great example of why I dislike when somebody asks a question like this, a totally legitimate question, and you get 800 people jumping in on your Facebook group or your Reddit forum, telling you what to do and giving you advice. You've gained 2 pounds. I don't know what your starting weight was. I don't know what your height is. Is it possible that you're underweight and you need to gain weight? I never assume anything. I never assume that everybody doing keto is overweight or obese or that everyone wants to lose weight. Some people just like to eat keto. So you might have gained weight because you need to gain weight. Or I have an entire course, literally an entire course about this, but you can look at my book, The Stall Slayer. It's a skinny little book. I have a whole chapter on helping people understand the difference between scale weight and body fat. So you've gained weight on the scale. We don't know if that's 2 pounds of body fat. My guess is no. If you are following Dr. Westman's plan like it's on crack, you have probably not gained 2 pounds of fat. It could be water retention. It could be bone mass. Now that you're not terrified to eat protein anymore on keto, it is possible to so we don't know what that weight is made of. And your weight fluctuates. Scale weight changes from day to day. You could take a big poop and lose 2 pounds. So 2 pounds is almost a negligible difference. So again, a very short question with a very long answer. If you're welcome to tell me more, Patricia, if you want to leave a comment for the public to see, if you want to tell me your height and weight, then we can maybe troubleshoot, because other than that, I don't know. I would say, some people retain water when it's humid out. You could easily retain 2 pounds of water. So, try not to focus solely on the scale weight. If you happen to be doing keto for weight loss, or for fat loss, I should say, for losing body fat, your scale weight is not the best way to measure that. Okay. Jesse says, what is my opinion on alternate day fasting with keto, like 500 calories every other day? Well, you could do that, or you could eat your normal amount of calories every day and just do keto. Like, so I don't know when you tuned in, Jesse, but earlier in this spontaneous pop-up live video, I was telling somebody that in most cases, the metabolic benefits and effects that people are looking to get through some variation of fasting, you are already getting on a ketogenic diet if you are doing it properly. If you are not messing around with the keto cakes and candies and cupcakes and the keto bread and the keto this and that, if you are eating food and you're eating food that's very low in carbohydrate, and so you are basically maintaining a low normal blood glucose and insulin most of the day, then you don't need to fast. because that benefit that you're looking to get from fasting, you're already getting by following a legitimate, you know, proven way of doing keto, not this internet. I cobbled together my own program from 86 different sources. So that again is a super long way of saying I don't think there's any harm in doing that. If you want to do alternate day fasting, do it. But I don't think you have to do it if you're doing keto properly. But no skin off my back if you want to do it. Somebody is asking if I believe in the carbohydrate insulin model. If you see that comment, CIM, that's what that is, the carbohydrate insulin model. I almost don't want to answer because this is so controversial. What I will say is we know that carbohydrate restriction is very, very effective for helping people lose fat and for reversing type 2 diabetes and reversing metabolic syndrome and reversing non alcoholic fatty liver and all that stuff. Does that mean that carbohydrates in and of themselves cause those problems? No, it doesn't. Um, you know, w- if you break your leg in a bicycling accident and then you wear a cast for a few weeks, that helps your leg heal. That doesn't mean that lack of the cast is what made your leg break, right? So just because something helps to fix a problem doesn't mean that that thing was involved in causing the problem. I certainly do think, though, and I think this is pretty easy to prove with a glucose tolerance test that two people can eat the exact same food in the exact same quantity and one person's blood sugar and or insulin, because they might not do the same thing, one person's blood sugar and or insulin will do this and one person's will do this. You know what I mean? We could eat the exact same amount of potatoes or rice or drink the same amount of juice, and one person is going to have this massive insulin response, and the other person isn't. That's what I'll say about that. Jesse says, "What are my favorite keto sweeteners?" So, as always, my favorite answer is that you should use whatever works, whatever you enjoy, and that allows you to get the results you want is what you should use. No matter what Dr. So and so says, and nutritionist so and so is fear mongering about the this and the that, and this thing's toxic. Um, I personally use everything. So I use whatever's handy. I use Sweet and Low in my coffee, which is saccharin. I've been using that for like 30 years, even before I was keto. That's what I never put actual regular sugar in my coffee. I just didn't like it. I prefer Sweet and Low. So I use Sweet and Low. I use Splenda. I use stevia. I use that stuff just because it's cheaper. Like if you buy the monk fruit now or the allulose, it's pricey, but I think they're all fine as long as they're working for you. I'm trying to think if there's any that I really. Some of the sugar alcohols can mess you up, like mannitol, maltitol, sorbitol, but you can't really buy those in a bag. Those come as an ingredient in packaged goods that are already made, like manufactured bars and shakes and, like keto cookies that'll have that stuff in it, like sugar-free candy has a lot of that. Most of the sweeteners I think are okay. I know that's like I'm like the anti-nutritionist. I'm just giving other nutritionists, oh, Splenda's poison and come on. Maribel says, "What are my thoughts on dairy? I don't drink milk, but will eat cheddar cheese, cream." Again, if it works for you, it works for you. So it doesn't really matter what my thoughts are. If you are eating certain dairy foods and you enjoy them and you're still getting the results you want to get, eat them. I eat dairy. I never met a cheese I didn't like, although there's some that I like more than others. I eat a fair amount of dairy. Um, Yeah. I don't eat sour cream anymore and cream cheese, not because there's anything wrong with them, but because they are trigger foods for me. They are major binge foods for me. So it's like not safe for me to have them in my house. But that's an Amy Berger problem, not a dairy problem. Mm. Oh, Monica is asking a question that is not my area of expertise, but I'll just weigh in anyway. Monica is asking how many times a week I would suggest resistance training. So, as much as I harp on protein intake, especially for women, if you really do want to build and maintain bone mass, you want to do some kind of weight bearing exercise. It could be lifting a weight, it could be your own body weight, but you need to challenge these things. I really don't know. Probably depending on how you're doing it, probably 3 days is a week is enough. Some people might say 4, some people might say 1 or 2 depending on what you're doing. I'm not a trainer. I probably at least 3 days a week, but that's like hitting different muscle groups. One day you would do more of like, chest and back. Another day you would do biceps and triceps. Another day lower body. So you break it up in that you're really only hitting certain muscle groups maybe once a week or twice. Um, Tracy's in Bridgeport. I got my master's in nutrition from the University of Bridgeport, but I did not live in Bridgeport. They had kind of a distance program. Gabby is asking 395 pounds, sedentary, insulin resistant. Can I lose fat and reverse my insulin resistance, not being in ketosis at all, but eating only 50 grams of total carbs every day and mostly clean keto? I would like to say yes, but I can't guarantee this. You will probably get pretty far doing that, but you may at some point hit a wall where you really need to get down. Now, some people eating 50 grams of total carbs will be in ketosis. Ketosis is not defined by 20 grams or less. Some people can have more. Everybody's carbohydrate sensitivity and threshold for being in ketosis is different. So you might be in ketosis at 50 grams. You're probably not if you're specifically saying, you're not. Yeah, 50 grams of carbs for somebody at your starting weight is very low. So I'd be surprised if you didn't see some substantial improvement at that level. But again, can't guarantee. I would encourage you to try getting as low as you can, but if you're already doing this and it's working, then keep doing it. You don't need my permission. Like if what you're doing is working, keep doing it. Okay. Now there's 60 people watching. Yay. Patricia has a question, but she didn't really ask a question. Currently 150 pounds. I've lost 40 pounds on keto. Way to go, Patricia. I still have 30 more to go. I'm 5'1". This week I haven't been sleeping because of hot flashes, but is that a question? Like I don't really have any information about hot flashes, unfortunately. I'm the woman who knows the least about womanly problems on the planet, and I'll be the first to admit that. So I mean, hot flashes, if you are of a menopausal age, it could be that. Some people just get hot-ish flashes on keto just because of the way the metabolism is working. So I don't know. If you have a specific question, feel free to write it. Little T is asking, my favorite topic, can thyroid issues cause massive inches lost but not pounds? Thoughts on poor weight loss but large inches lost? Oh, so this is a great example of why scale weight is not the best way to judge how things are going if you are trying to lose fat, right? Because we don't want to lose weight. We want to lose fat. If you are losing inches, then I would not even care about the scale at all. I would just not even care. If you're losing, and I assume you want to lose inches, I assume that's something you are trying to do, then I would just stay off the scale for a while. And no, I don't thyroid would not be the reason why that's happening, why your body's getting smaller even if your weight is not changing. That is just body recomposition, things shifting around, different things happening. That would not be a thyroid thing. Is ashwagandha okay with keto? Yes. I'm not aware of any contraindications. So for those of you who have never heard of ashwagandha, I think it's an herb. It's a botanical adaptogen that they very often use for like energy. I hate I hate to even say the A word, adrenal, because 10 years ago when everybody was doing paleo and no one ever heard of keto, everybody had adrenal fatigue 10 years ago. Is I don't know if anyone here watching is old enough to remember the great adrenal fatigue epidemic of, the early 20 teens, and the great gluten intolerance epidemic that we had. So yeah, ashwagandha, adaptogen, an adaptogenic herb, supposedly helps your body adapt. If you have certain things that are too low, it makes them higher. If you have certain things that are too high, it makes them lower. How does it do that? I don't know, but I is ashwagandha safe to take while keto? I think so. I'm not aware of any reason why it wouldn't be. Um, uh, Oh yeah, Sky Zero. That's a good suggestion. For people that have trouble sleeping on keto, if you eat carbs, or maybe you even eat like, relatively small amount of starch, do that with your evening meal. Have that in the evening. People do tend to sleep better. Mm, I avoid dairy. Dairy. What else is here? Monica says she knows I hate resistance training. So I don't hate it as much as I used to. I don't think I'm ever going to love it, but I will say I like what it does for me. I like knowing I'm getting stronger. When I do it regularly enough for a consistent enough period of time, and I can actually start to see the difference, I like it. So I see it as kind of a necessary evil. And the thing that I have to remember when I don't want to do lifting is I am a cardio queen, like self-professed. I don't even have to have music like pounding bass or rap music. Give me a podcast. Give me something to really get my brain into, and I can be on a treadmill for an hour and I'm a happy kid. But I know that that is not going to get me where I want to go. Is that better than me sitting on my butt in front of my computer all day without moving? Yes, by all means, get on the treadmill. But if I want to change my shape and have nice, shapely muscles, all the cardio in the world is not going to do that. But I still have this weird thing in my head of like, if I'm not working up a sweat and my heart isn't pounding out of my chest and I'm not breathing heavy and moving, then I'm not working out. But what I have to remember is that when you lift, all of that stuff happens. I still sweat like a pig. My heart will be racing. I'll be breathing like crazy. So I still get all of the benefits of the cardio without doing the cardio. So it's like all of the stuff that I think I'm supposed to feel when I work out, I feel when I lift. It just doesn't seem the same. There's a lady named Jen Sinkler who, I don't know how active she still is, but she's a bodybuilder and she hates cardio. She doesn't do cardio. And so her line was, when people ask her, well, she lifts weights. What do you do for cardio? Lift weights faster. So lifting weights is cardio if you do it right. Okay, let's see what else is here. Lots of hearts. Oh, thank you for that compliment, AV. Oh, lots of very nice compliments in here. Thank you. So I'm so glad my stuff is helpful. Um, Somebody from Indiana. Hi, James. So Mimi is asking another question about weight that I really can't answer without knowing your current weight, starting weight, goals. Mimi says, I increased my protein after significant weight loss. Almost seems that my weight is creeping back up. Does high protein affect some people using 140 grams of lean protein? So 140 grams of lean protein to me does not sound especially high. Like I'm not like, it's like, okay, 140 grams. And so if you are gaining weight after a significant weight loss and you are eating a lot of lean protein, my guess is that this is not body fat. Again, the scale is not your best tool here. Take your measurements once a month. Get a cheap tape measure from the dollar store or whatever. Check your waist, your hips. Some people will do their neck, their wrist, whatever your thigh, whatever you want to measure that maybe once a month. I wouldn't do it once a week. It's not going to change that fast. That will tell you whether this is fat or not, because if you lost a bunch of weight and now you're eating more protein, my guess is you are probably rebuilding lean mass. Can't guarantee it, but that's my guess. Flowers. Oh, Good Health is asking. So I don't know what your real name is, Good Health, but yes. So right now, unless I did something wrong, I should be broadcasting to my own YouTube channel, my Two at Nutrition YouTube channel. There are some people watching live right now who are doing the Keto Made Simple Masterclass that some of you may have heard me talk about in some of my videos. That is a totally separate thing. So if you're watching tonight, this is a totally separate thing. I will still be appearing live tomorrow night in your private Facebook group for the Keto Made Simple. So yes, it is a different thing. Yeah, I've heard of that book, Potatoes Not Prozac. I have not read it, but I've heard of it. See, and so funny. Sky Zero says, I hate lifting. They'll do body weight all day. I'm the opposite. I hate lifting, but if I have to lift, dear God, let me lift a weight. I do not want to be doing body weight. I don't want to. I'll do air squats. I'll do push-ups and planks, but that's kind of about it. But if you ask Ted Naiman, that's all you really need anyway, right? But I don't. Body weight, oh, the less the less I can think about and look at and feel my body, the better. And that is a whole separate channel that we could have a channel on body image issues. But the less in touch I can be with my body, the better. Good Health is talking about awful dark circles. I'm assuming you mean dark eye circles. When you figure out what to do about them, you can tell me, because I don't know. I know that I don't get enough sleep, and how much of that is an old wives' tale, or how much of that actually does affect this, I don't know. I don't think that keto makes that go away. Now, if you're talking about other skin patches, there are reports of people seeing much improved skin condition overall. People with various, there are people with like skin discolorations and stuff that can go away. But if you're talking about the eye bags, I wish I had an answer for you. Oh, Maribel heard me on the low carb MD. Oh, I haven't been on that in a while. That must have been a while ago. Psoriasis. Peter has isolated psoriasis on his hand. So keto in general usually makes that stuff better. I don't know if it like makes it go away 100% all the time. So I don't know how long you've been doing keto. I would just maybe be patient. Or if you've been doing keto a while and it's still happening, I would, as much as I hate to tell people to track food, if there's a mysterious issue, it's not a bad idea to track to see if maybe you can identify something that you're sensitive to. So it's not like you have to track, I had 58 grams of this and 2 ounces of that. Just write down what you ate, sirloin steak, grilled asparagus, zucchini, because maybe if it's something that doesn't happen all the time, if it's like sporadic, you might be able to connect something that's giving you that reaction, but I don't know. Yeah, Miss K is saying the same thing about weightlifting. I love weightlifting and the results I get much more than cardio, which is boring and only burns calories. Yeah, I mean, I don't like lifting, but I'm doing it. I don't do it as often as I should, but I'm doing it. Mm, Malia, I hope I'm pronouncing her name right. Amalia, forgive me. I might be saying it wrong. Something about thyroid. Recovering from an episode of silent thyroiditis that hit me just before Thanksgiving. I went slightly hypothyroid while I was recovering. Now I'm mostly normal. Is this an autoimmune condition? I have never heard of silent thyroiditis, so I'm not sure what that is. Silent meaning you had no symptoms, no issues, so I don't I can't really comment because I don't know what that is. I could look it up in a second, but I mean, there are oh, sorry, you clarified. The very next comment, I have TPO antibodies, but they're well within reference range. In that, I don't know if they're with I don't know. I wish I had an answer for you. I will let me see. Let me just silent thyroiditis. There, it's coming up. I guess it's a thing. Increased appetite, increased sweating, heat intolerance, fatigue, frequent. Oh, so this is overactive thyroid. Were you postpartum? Did you another autoimmune antithyroid common in women? Wait, I'm just like reading off of the Cleveland Clinic website right now. Over and underproduction of thyroid. Don't you love that? When you have a condition or you take a medicine and the medicine comes with that handout of side effects and it's like may cause diarrhea or constipation, may cause, insomnia or fatigue. Like, what is it, people? Like, come on now. So this can be under or over. I don't know what you had. It does say that silent thyroiditis is autoimmune, but that's like literally all I know about it. I've not heard of that before. I'm going to have to check it out. I mean, if it comes back, you say now you're mostly normal. I would just if you are a praying person, pray. If you're a hoping person, hope just that it stays normal. But if it comes back, just kind of be on the lookout for it to come back. Like be aware if you start to have symptoms of that. Oh, Rohit missed my comment earlier about the carbohydrate insulin model. No, I don't think it's dead. I think it's incomplete. And that's all I can really say. I don't think the carbohydrate insulin model is not dead. It's just not comprehensive to explain all cases of obesity, all cases of diabetes or what. I think there are a lot of people who find it what is the word? There are some people who seem to take great, great personal offense at the mere possibility that another human on the planet might feel well and lose weight and be happy not eating a lot of carbohydrate. And I don't know why they are so opposed to that. I know that's not a really good answer to you, Rohit. I'm sorry. I just think because I did address it earlier. I think there's a lot of people who are exquisitely sensitive to carbohydrate, and there are some people who aren't. Oh, Mimi got back to the protein question. I was told to eat as much as my current weight. My waist is 30 inches. Do you think that's too much? Cut back today to 100 grams. No, I don't think 140 grams of protein was too much. So, oh, older Pennsylvanian, my heart is with you. Older Pennsylvanian left a comment about thyroid. has a meeting with the endocrinologist tomorrow, antibodies, so you know you have Hashimoto's, your TSH is in range. I'm not a doctor, so of course this is not medical advice, but you all know I've got thyroid stuff. I'm very passionate about thyroid information. The TSH is almost worthless because I want to know how you feel. I don't even want to look at your labs until we discuss, how does older Pennsylvanian feel? Are you still having signs and symptoms? Are you still tired? Are you constipated? Is your hair falling out? Are you depressed? Do you have no sex drive? Are you having trouble losing weight? All this stuff. If that's true, oh, but your TSH is normal, whoop-de-friggin' do. Like, this is a healthcare provider. They need to provide you with some healthcare. And if they don't, find someone who will. And I just get very passionate because I see this all the time. The TSH is normal and the T3 is in the toilet. But if you feel fine, then it's fine. So it is possible that you are totally fine. But if you feel like garbage, you have to fight for yourself. You have to advocate for yourself. Okay. Oh, Sky Zero says, do I have any thoughts on peaches? You had no idea they were so low carb and low calorie. So, yeah, I mean, let's put it this way. There are a lot of people who are doing very strict ketogenic diets who don't need to. You don't have to eat like a child with intractable epilepsy if you're healthy and lean and fit and you want to stay that way. Keto, I make my living helping people with some variation of low carb diet. It could be paleo, it could be low-ish carb, it could be super strict keto. I do the gamut, but so as much as I love keto and as powerful as I know it is, not everybody needs it. And a peach is what, 18 grams, give or take the size of the peach, anywhere from like 12 to 20 grams of carbs, and it's mostly water. And the thing with a peach is you're going to eat a peach and you're probably not going to eat 10 more. That's the difference between a peach and a donut. One peach, you're like, well, that was pretty good. I'm going to go about the rest of my day now. 2 Oreo cookies, and then you want 20. So I think most people can have more fruit than they realize, but most, not all. And I'm not going to lie, I haven't had fruit in a while, but a few years ago when I lived up in Washington, D.C., we had the most incredible farmer's market walking distance from where I lived. And you better believe in the summertime, I was eating peaches, I was eating plums, I was doing berries. Oh man. But not a lot and really sort of seasonal. So what other questions? Protein, peaches. My bags have bags. Yeah, so do mine. So there's a movie that is one of my all-time favorite movies that many of you have probably never heard of. It's called The Truth About Cats and Dogs. And it is kind of a rom-com. It's a chick flick. The Truth About Cats and Dogs. And there's this scene where the protagonist, who is like a regular type woman, she's not into fancy schmancy makeup, she's like a regular everyday woman. She goes to a department store where they've got one of those really fancy upscale makeup, skincare, things. And the woman behind the counter was trying to sell her a pore minimizer, like a minimize the pores. And she said, I would actually like a pore maximizer because sometimes you just want a place to put, your keys, loose change. So I was just thinking of the bag, my bags have bags. It just reminded me of I would actually like a pore maximizer. And they also, the woman, the ritzy, like uppity, snobby woman behind the counter says to her, what's your skincare regime? Because they were taught, do you see, you know how they have those mirrors that like magnify so that you can see every last pore on your face and every wrinkle and every little spot? She's looking at one of those like And so the lady says, do you see all, I can't even say this without cracking up, all the free radical damage. And so then she says, what's your skincare regime? And the protagonist says, my regime, my regime. The regime from which the radicals are trying to break free? Are we selling face cream or staging a coup? That is one of my all-time favorite movies. My regime, the regime from which the radicals are trying to break free. You have to see that movie. Okay. Heather is asking, my fasting insulin is only 5, but I think I have hyperinsulinemia due to skin tags and hypertension. Does that mean my insulin just goes up when I eat and take forever to come down? Excellent question. So yeah, it is very possible that so the same thing can happen to blood sugar and insulin in that your fasting level is normal. But if you eat something, especially particularly if you eat a higher carb meal, your blood sugar could go very high or your insulin could go very high or both. So yeah, Heather, it is possible that when you eat a meal, a high carb meal, your insulin is rising and staying high, even though your fasting level is normal. But if that's the case, then you would just keep doing what you're doing, assuming you're already doing some version of a low carb or keto diet, because that will correct eventually. Because if you're eating meals that don't really mess with the insulin that much, that will change over time. And I got to say, I know I did a video and I wrote a blog post about insulin and skin, and I really harped on the skin tag thing. There are people who have skin tags for reasons we cannot explain. So I don't think it's always insulin, but I would say many people that have skin tags, when you look at the blood work, they probably will have indications of the high insulin elsewhere besides just the skin. But yeah, if you have hypertension, then I would look, yeah. Thomas or Tomas, I don't know, you could be Spanish or something. Tomas or Thomas says, I have just started on phase 1 of our book. Oh, look, a little shameless plug for End Your Carb Confusion. Started on phase 1 4 days ago. What are the pros and cons of fasting while on this program? 1 day a week, 24. I'm 31 on the BMI and have no health issues and no meds. Thank you, Thomas, for being like one of the only people whoever actually gave me that critical piece of information when asking a question like this. You said you're on no meds. You have no idea how important that is. And most people don't say it unless you ask. So, lesson from Thomas or Tomas, everyone. No health issues. You could fast 1 day a week if you wanted to, but if you just tuned in, this is something that I mentioned earlier tonight. The beauty of eating that way, especially if you're on phase 1, which is really strict, you don't have to fast. Because that food list is so strict, for those of you who don't know, our phase 1 food list is 20 total grams of carbohydrate a day. So you are not messing around with the keto cookies and the keto brownie. You're not even subtracting fiber from Brussels sprouts. You know what I mean? So it's very strict. It is so powerful that you don't need to fast. You will get all the metabolic benefits you need to get just by following that plan. If you want to fast, you can, but you don't have to. Good Health says, I'm so awesome. What question was that in relation to? Thank you for saying that I'm awesome. Oh, my thoughts on carnivore. I'm gonna post a link to an article that I wrote about the carnivore diet, except the only caveat I have is that this website, it's not my website. I wrote this article for somebody else's site, and it's a great site. She's a great lady. She writes a lot of cookbooks, but her site right now is so heavy with ads and ads embedded within the blog post that it becomes almost annoying to try to read the post, because every couple of sentences or paragraphs, there's a big picture with an ad. So just keep that in mind if you read this. I'm going to put the link right now. um, that my thoughts on the carnivore diet are there. It's just you're gonna have to scroll past the ads and stuff. My thoughts on it are most people probably don't need something quite that extreme, but if you don't think it's extreme, if you hate broccoli and you hate cauliflower and you hate eggplant and you hate almonds and you hate olive oil, do the carnivore diet. Like, I'm not, in the short term at least, I'm not concerned about scurvy. I'm not concerned about, magnesium deficiency. Like, I do have some concerns over long-term potential issues, but I also know of some somewhat miraculous healing transformations with the carnivore diet. So I think it's fine, but you're saying it's like all the rage where you live, wherever that is. It it was huge here for a while. Now it's becoming less huge. I think the carnivores, it's helpful for many, many people. Yes, but I am a little bit annoyed at some of the fear mongering that goes on there, scaring people away from foods that they've been eating forever and feeling totally fine on. For years and years, like when Atkins was the only game in town, or Protein Power, or these older versions of lower carb and keto diets, most people ate vegetables and we were totally fine. So I think most people probably do fine with plant foods. There might be a small subset of people that need something different, but yeah, I'm not afraid of it, but I certainly don't think everybody needs to eat that way. Have I tried Pilates? So Pilates, I'm like allergic. Like, I'm having this reaction right now. I'm allergic to things like yoga and Pilates that force me to really be in tune with my body and move it. No, no. Um, I'm sure that Pilates is beloved by many people. It's not my jam, as they say. I can't. I'm How do I put this? I'm not a graceful person. I'm a bull in a china shop. And so me trying to do yoga or trying to do Pilates is just like, it's a bad idea. But I know other people love it. Other people swear by it. My boyfriend does yoga. So, my answer to everything, whatever works. Uh Miss K says people get dogmatic about their diet. No, they don't. That's crazy talk. Yes, yes, they do. Pennsylvanian says TPO is 642. I don't know what the range is, but isn't the range like really like nowhere near the hundreds? That's one of the ones that I don't know off the top of my head. Um, in Pennsylvania, I'm trying to think if I know of anyone good. I don't know. What part of Pennsylvania? Because that might help. Oh, Sky Zero was asking me personally if I knew that peaches were low in carbs. Yes, I do. Yes, they are delicious. And yes, I eat them once in a while. I probably haven't had a peach in a couple of years, but not because I'm afraid of them. I just haven't had them. But yes, peaches are delicious. Also, nectarines, which are basically peaches that are not fuzzy. Right? Um, Universe USA says, I have a beautiful smile. Thank you so much. Christina is asking if I enjoy 70% chocolate. Um, that's a funny way to ask it. Do I enjoy it? Yes. Do I also enjoy and eat 80% and 90%? Yes, I do eat dark chocolate. It is something though that I really can't I can't have it regularly because it is definitely a binge food for me. So I can buy a bar and I'll eat the bar in a sitting, and then I won't do it again for 4 months or 5 months. So it's, for me, I can't really control it, but if I could have 1 or 2 squares every night, that's fine. But yeah, dark chocolate is, I think it's fine. Good health is at, and I'm gonna end soon because I'm almost an hour here. Good Health is asking about iodine. Do I take iodine for hypothyroid? Normal TSH is useless and hypothyroid symptoms are the same. Worthless, synthroid, and levothyroxine. So you need a new endocrinologist or a new doctor. You Any medical doctor, and in the US, I mean, I don't know what country you're in, but the any MD can prescribe thyroid medicine. It doesn't have to be an endocrinologist. You would just hope that an endo is the one who's supposed to know the most about these hormones. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. I myself am on a T4, I'm on Synthroid, and I'm also on a T3 medicine because Synthroid for many people doesn't work. Again, if you're taking medicine and you are still symptomatic, that medicine isn't working. So there's so much mixed information on iodine. I hesitate to recommend anything. I'm going to be honest with you because I just want to be honest. I did very recently start supplementing with iodine. I'm not ready to comment on my results yet, but I'm messing around with iodine. But I am willing to experiment on myself in ways that I would not recommend for a client or for a stranger that I don't know anything about. So I definitely mess around with supplements and things in ways that I would not really advise other people to. But I sign my own disclaimer. I'm not going to sue myself or anything. Um, you could try iodine. There's so many iodine forums and groups where people do have miraculous stories of healing, and you can maybe get some tips from them on how to do that if you want to try it. Um, oh, Ola from Colombia, tuning in from Colombia, getting rid of Candida. Low carb for years, no recent crazy cheats, too few many vodka diets. Notice athlete's foot, even with flip flops. Even with flip flops, I would say you probably have athlete's foot because of the flip flops. Um, maybe get a new pair of flip flops, keep them really clean and sterile. Don't walk around in damp locker rooms and places where there's fungus hanging around. Other than that, I'm not that familiar with Candida. So you're talking about athlete's foot. I don't know if you have thrush like oral on your tongue or intestinal, because Candida and these yeast infections show up in different places. So there are Candida protocols that I'm not that familiar with, mostly taking antifungal type supplements that, they exist. I'm just not that well versed in them to really advise. Bulletproof coffee, benefit or hype? How much more time do we have? Mostly hype, but it depends on what your goals are. If you have a goal that would be helped by putting coconut oil and butter in your coffee, then do it. If you don't have a pressing need to drink a 400 calorie cup of coffee, then don't do it. And in fact, in our Keto Made Simple Masterclass, one of the big revelations for people is that fat is not unlimited. If you are having a hard time losing body fat, you don't need to be drinking 400 calories of liquid fat. But if that's not your situation, if you need to get calories in, then you can have it. So it's really there's never, I shouldn't say never, because there's never. I don't like to give blanket statements without knowing anything about people's situation. Should I have this? Is this good or bad? But I don't know. What is your situation? What are you trying to accomplish? Bulletproof coffee for most people is not necessary. Do you need is there some particular advantage you're getting by having coconut oil and butter in your coffee? If there is, then do it, but most people not. Oh, Graciela has an interesting question. Would I recommend like one of those medic alert bracelets for people on a ketogenic diet? Something like I'm on keto or I'm insulin resistant, so that let's say, God forbid, you're in an accident, you can't communicate, you can't respond. They're going to put you on a glucose drip or an IV drip. It's an interesting question. My answer is no. And I'll tell you why though, but most people that have diabetes though, especially if you're on certain medications, you should have one with your medications or with like an emergency phone number that the ER or whoever can call, and it will connect them with like a 24-hour hotline. Oh, it's Amy Berger. Let me look at the chart. Oh, okay. She's on metformin. She's on insulin. She's on this. She's on that. No, not that I am. I'm just saying that's an example. Um, no, if you are on a ketogenic diet, if you are scheduling a procedure in advance, then you can tell the medical team, I want X and Y and I don't want Z. And I have heard stories of where you can request like a saline only or a glucose free. They can do certain, depending on your situation. I mean, as much as we like to badmouth doctors sometimes and modern medicine, they do know what they're doing sometimes in an emergency trauma situation. If you're in a situation like that, you need to survive and you need to live. And you need to let them make those decisions, and then once you recover, you get back to keto. Like what is the priority here? Is the priority not getting a glucose drip, or is the priority, stopping the bleeding from my sucking chest wound? So, but no, it is a good question. So if you are scheduling something in advance, like it's just a procedure that you know you're going to have, it's scheduled on such and such date, you can work that out with the team. If it's an emergency thing where you can't communicate, what I've heard is that whatever glucose or dextrose is in that stuff is usually pretty small. Like it's not orange juice in that bag coming into your vein. It's not Mountain Dew. It's like a very small amount of little glucose that's just dripping in. So I honestly wouldn't worry, but it's a reasonable question. And you're not the first to ask it, but I would say that, yeah, I think we assume, we hear like a glucose drip, a dextrose drip. You think it's like 100, you think you're like taking a glucose tolerance test right into your vein. You're not. It's like very diluted solution, I think. Um, Mary's here. Hey, Mary. We just had a question about iodine. I don't know if you caught it or not. Mary is a friend of mine who's doing some iodine experimenting. Yeah, adult daughter, skin tags, PCOS. Yeah, you can't convince anyone to do something they don't want. She might come around to it on her own at some point, you know. Ooh, Christina says, could low blood sugar or low magnesium cause forgetfulness? I sometimes feel like brain fog for a day. Yeah, yeah. I don't know that the magnesium would do that. The blood sugar could, but if your blood sugar was low enough to be causing forgetfulness, you would be having other symptoms, I think, that you would want to go eat something. Like you would be having hypoglycemia. Um, Although sometimes that might be sodium too. Brain fog. Make sure you're getting enough salt. That could be an electrolyte thing. MSE, thank you so much, MSE. That's very kind. MSE says, I speak honestly and generously, and I look very pretty. I get so many compliments on this shirt. I have to tell you, though, it looks blue because I can see it on the video. It looks blue. In person, it's very much a teal color, like a not a peacock color, but like a blue green, like a very much a almost turquoise, but very, very dark. It doesn't look blue at all like it does on the screen. Um, Southeastern Pennsylvania. I knew of the most wonderful keto friendly doctor in Phoenixville, if that town means anything to you. He does not practice anymore. Well, he does, but he works for Virta Health. He has a PA who took over sort of for his practice. He was at, let me see if I can find Phoenix. It's like Phoenixville PMA Associates Medical Specialist. It's coming up. Let me see if I can find her. Because he was my go-to guy in the Philly area, and he's not there anymore. It's so annoying. So yeah, she's a PA that took over. I don't even know if, oh, let me see if I can find her on this list. Here she is. I think this is it. Casey Labick. I don't know how knowledgeable she's going to be on your issue, but it's that link I just put there for Casey somebody. Um, Such a bummer that guy is not in practice anymore. Can I have strawberries, pistachios, and cashews when trying to lose fat and reverse my insulin resistance? So can you? There's only one way to find out, and that's to do it and see if you like how things are going. I will tell you that Dr. Westman's famous page 4 food list and the food list for phase 1 of our End Your Carb Confusion does not include any nuts, no nuts of any kind. And it's not because nuts can't work. It's because nuts are a very, very common trigger food or binge food. If you can have that one little handful or that ounce and close the package, that's fine. The reason we prohibit them, at least at first, is because most of us can't. Most of us, you sit down with that bag of almonds from Trader Joe's, and before you know it, the whole bag is gone. You inhaled it. So, yes, you can have nuts. Yes, you can have strawberries as long as you are able to eat a reasonable human sized portion of them. Oh, Christina has a good iodine story. Thank you for sharing that. Breast cysts and body temps. That's good to know. All right. I'm getting more questions. I'm going to blow through these and then we're going to call in a night. Question about vitamins B1 and B6. So, unless you know that you are overtly deficient, then I don't think those are something that you need to supplement specifically. But that being said, most vitamins, even if you are not overtly deficient, if you supplement them at what we would call a pharmacological dose, almost like a medicinal dose of a supplement, you might have an effect, hopefully for the better. It's hard to mess yourself up with too many B vitamins, but yeah, unless you know that there's a reason you need more of them, I wouldn't go out of my way to supplement with those two specifically by themselves. So honest and natural. It's, everybody says I'm so honest, which I appreciate. I try to be honest. Couple of reasons. If you don't lie, you never get caught in a lie. So it's like 2 months from now, somebody's going to be like, Amy said, blah, 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 blah. Like Amy's doing the keto diet, but I saw her eating a peach. Well, I just told you that I eat peaches. It's been a while, but it's not. So I don't have to cover my tracks. Oh, what did I tell that person? What did I say on that video? If I just always tell the truth. And then what was the other reason? When I talk about my own struggles, it's why I use the word we a lot instead of you. If you have this problem with food, if you're because it's me too. Like we compulsive overeaters, we food addicts, we whatever, I've always been honest. Like I have trigger foods that I can't keep in my house that are perfectly suitable keto foods. Like you've all heard me talk about the mayonnaise. Sour cream is on that list now because I will sit there with a tub of sour cream and a spoon and eat it like it's yogurt. A cup of sour cream, nothing in it, plain sour cream. So like I like to be honest because not enough other keto people are. And you all need to know that if you are still struggling, you are not the only one. Even the professionals don't have it all figured out. And I'll spoil Dr. Westman's dirty little secret. He eats stuff every now and then that, he cops to it every now and then, but he doesn't follow his page 4 diet to the letter. He's a big nut eater, and there's, and that's not the only thing, but We don't have it all figured out. And anyone who makes you think they do is just trying to sell stuff on Instagram or trying to be an influencer or something. I don't know. Um, yeah, Christina says, thinks it probably is the salt. Don't be afraid of salt. Lady Mist says, after an anesthetic procedure, what food in a hospital to request after fasting for a gastroscopy? Most hospitals should have a lower sugar menu, or you can just ask them to leave off the sugar and start. I don't want the fruit cup. Don't bring me the skim milk. Don't bring me the bagel. Like at breakfast, can you just bring me eggs and sausage? Can you leave off the sugar? Like that's probably the best way, unless if you know that you're gonna be fed in a hospital afterward. I would plan ahead. Speak to the dietitian ahead of time and say, "Look, I'm doing really well on this lower carb diet. I would appreciate if maybe I could have whatever protein you have available that day. If it's a piece of chicken or a piece of fish, just give me that and some vegetable. I don't want the roll. I don't want the margarine. I don't want the orange juice." Um, Even better if your family can bring you something. If a loved one can bring you a lunchbox. So all right, 15 minutes for me, Phoenixville. Oh, now people are asking about Lugol's. I don't want to give any dosing advice here. So, would carnivore be a great approach for those trying to figure out foods that could be causing an autoimmune disorder? Yes. That's one of the rare things where I think it is helpful to do carnivore. Most people with autoimmune issues do really, really well with keto. And again, not the weird internet cobbled together, keto, but like true, real deal keto, not messing around. Most people will have autoimmune issues get much, much better. But there are some that seem to be really mysterious, really intractable, hard to control. That people that were doing keto and got much better, but still kind of had some stuff, they go carnivore and boom, the rest of the stuff clears up. So that would be worth experimenting with a little bit, I would say. Um, yeah, Miss K just said no, no, thank you. I will not drink your liquid sugar. Thank you very much. Yeah, I think you can just, be polite, refuse, but be polite. I mean, they want you to drink 52 grams of carbs. It's like, okay, I'm in a medical facility, presumably to get well, and you're basically handing me the equivalent of Mountain Dew here. Oh, it has some electrolytes in it. Whoop-de-doo. It has like 2 milligrams of magnesium and 86,000 grams of sugar. Like what? Don't get me started. But this is good. This is good because there is a very big part of me that is very tempted to go to medical school. And I'm too lazy and too poor, and I'm not going to do it. But hearing some of the horror stories of what happens in hospitals is like, oh, yeah, no, I don't think that's for me. Oh, hey, Ryan. I think Ryan follows me on Twitter. Yeah, no, I'm just glad people were tuning in. I just was like, I'm bored. I don't want to mess around with my new computer, so I'll just mess around on my old one and go live on YouTube. And I'm just glad anybody tuned in. I think that's all the questions. So yeah, let me just remind you, this Saturday, May 22nd, is the free virtual Keto Salt Lake that I'm speaking at. Dr. Westman is speaking. I think Dave Feldman and some other keto people that I don't remember. Tune into the Keto Chow YouTube channel. They will be broadcasting it. If you don't if you can't watch live on Saturday, the videos will just be on their channel afterward. You can watch anytime. I will be in San Diego in August for Low Carb San Diego. You can just Google Low Carb San Diego 2021. If anyone is, well, no, so the time difference, nobody is watching this from Europe right now or from the Netherlands unless you can't sleep. I'm going to be at the Ancestral Health Symposium in the Netherlands in October. So I'll be there. Dr. Westman will be there. Gary Taubes, I think, has confirmed to be there. So that's going to be in the Netherlands in, I think, October 2nd. That's only a 1 day thing. Um, I think that's all the live events. No, no. If anyone is in Virginia or West Virginia, there is Highland County, Virginia, which is approximately this big, and it's got a population of like 4 people. No, it's a really, really pretty town that I have some friends there, and they're having a 1 day, no, maybe it's two, I don't know, a keto event. I think the last weekend of July. But if you follow me on social media or follow just my YouTube channel, I'll put all the details as it gets closer. But this July thing in Highland County, Virginia, I will be there. Rob Wolf will be there. Rob Wolf is one of my all-time favorite people in the health sphere. Keto, paleo, I've been following him for about 13 years now, long time. So, okay. I'm going to stop talking now. Thank you everybody for watching and for helping me pass my evening. Go enjoy, and I will see you next time.